Welkom by die Boerpot potgooi reeks waar ons fokus op die besigheid van landbou. Moenie vergeet om na ons ander potgooi reeks genaamd Klipkouers te luister waar ons fokus op Afrikaanse SMEs en hulle suksesverhale reg oor die wêreld. In our collective imagination, South African farmers often conjure a stereotypical image, an Afrikaans-speaking khaki-clad man immersed in the physical rigors of the job. But Anita Browne effortlessly defines this conventional portrait. Hailing from Tarlton, she has been an integral part of Greenway Farms for nearly a decade, spearheading the production side of the carrot family farming business. Anita holds the esteemed title of the first female recipient of the Young Farmer of the Year award, which she won in Gauteng in 2019. In this interview, she delves into her roots in the farming industry, highlighting the evolving landscape for women across the supply chain. She also discusses the impact of sustainable practices on their yields and the reasoning behind the inception of Rugani Juice.
Thank you so much for your time. It's so nice to be here. I mean, we'll get to this later. This is also, it was fascinating, out of the blocks, but really look forward to talking to you. But tell us, where did everything begin? Give us some background of the business, where it started and where you are today.
Okay, good. So this is primarily a family business, and it was founded by two founders, Vincent Sequeira and Vita Rugani, in 1988. So the two growers were farming separately in the Tarlton area, and they then decided, you know, they were struggling farmers. They were market growers. They were growing all different varieties and lines of vegetables. And
was that the primary focus? Was always vegetables?
Vegetables, yeah, always vegetables. So they were farming in the area separately, and then one day they decided that, look, it's probably better to join alliances and forces because, you know, the biblical principle, two are better than one.
Yeah.
And, subsequently then...
And the Portuguese and Italian.
And Italian, yeah.
So, but historically, that's never been a problem, right? It's like both Mediterranean mindset, or is it two different cultures on paper?
Look, it's two different cultures, but I think... the passion for farming is actually what brought them together. So
that was the connection.
Yes, definitely. Opportunity to grow together and be better together. So, in 1989, I think that's when they decided to get together, and they were still market growers. They still did a lot of lines of vegetables and still struggled quite a bit. Yeah. And around, I think it was 96, they decided to go off to Australia and go have a look and see how does the rest of the world farm. You know, here in South Africa, they struggling to make markets and profits and all of that, and
so they realized they might be missing a trick somewhere. Why was Australia chosen? Is that till today? Is that a good benchmark, or? So
there was a few reasons, and maybe I don't do it as just as the story would go, but I think fundamentally it's Southern Hemisphere, similar climates and similar growing conditions. And the fundamental difference is obviously they're mechanized. They're more first world country compared to South Africa. So it was, if you want to do something different, go find out.
You want to look into the future that's happening over there.
Yeah. So off they went, and they met up with a very big carrot grower, and this guy almost became like a mentor to the two founders. And around 2000s, they decided to then specialize in carrots, and it was more focused on, well, if you specialize, you can focus on being excellent at, you know, instead of doing many.
It was like a jack of all trades type.
Yeah, if you specialize, then we can become excellent at what we're doing. So at that point, then they decided that they would specialize in beetroots, broccoli, and carrots. So it definitely reduced the amount of produce that they were growing.
So that was already the
allowed
big lesson again there. So just again the focus, and it was this. Did the mentor play a big role, or the fact that he was a carrot farmer, or
Yeah,
is it just
he
it was one of those?
specialized.
So that's
as
again.
well.
So he could. So they knew this oak. He knows a trick or two. So let's just listen to him and.
Yeah,
and
he came with
execute.
a lot of. Obviously, he's walked this road, so that was basically what had happened. So when specialized, I think those following years after specialization, the business doubled within 2 to 3 years, and
Amazing.
since then, business just keeps on growing. And so about 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago, that's when second generation children started coming into the business, started taking up management positions, started getting involved. And
Was that always a given? I mean, the family is there. I mean, it's a family business today. Was that everybody liked the idea, or were there a few that ran in the opposite direction?
It's quite interesting because my father's side, he's got 5 daughters and only one son.
Oh,
So,
all right.
it wasn't a given, no.
Yeah.
So I am obviously one of the daughters that decided to come into the business almost 10 years ago, and quite against the grain because I'm also a female in agriculture.
How did your father view it? Was that never an issue, or was it traditional? It has to be the son.
Look, my brother's the youngest child, so I just managed to get here faster than he did.
But your father didn't give up, clearly.
No, just kidding. No, I think my dad didn't actually expect us to come into the business, so
there's no pressure.
No, there wasn't pressure, and I don't think it was very traditional for your daughters to come into a farming or agricultural environment. So I think it was a surprise, but
Why did you decide? What appealed to you? What are the things that led you to get to that point and say, this is for me?
So I got again exposure.
Yeah.
So I was exposed to more scientific side of industry that could get involved with how, suppliers that support agricultural businesses like labs and those type of things. So when I got exposed to that at a very young age, then about 18, then I was like, oh, okay, so there is opportunity for,
not just
I don't have to be the farmer,
but
there's definitely opportunity to get involved in some sort of avenue around the business. And then I ended up going to go study, and I have a BSc degree, an honours degree in plant pathology.
Okay.
So I didn't think...
Is that like an R&D of a plant?
It's more about diseases and plant physiology and...
how do you make it stronger, better,
so
resistant, whatever?
Pest management, that type of thing. So I thought, I could come in and add value in the business, and so got involved very technically in the business, and 10 years later land up in managing the business. So
I just want to stand still for a minute with the whole women in farming. I think a similar correlation is women in mining, for example. There's certain where historically you had these dusty businesses that, and it's not. I mean, we're sitting. It's a high-tech world. It's a lot more complicated, sophisticated. What are the opportunities for women in farming? Do you see a shift You see more women. I mean, what's happening there? Because obviously from outside, you only see a bunch of men most of the time. Or a lot of the time, the farmers' wives are entrepreneurs, right? So they don't necessarily, they're busy with their own sideline that's nothing to do with the farm.
Yeah. So I think there definitely is a shift. I think I can even see it in our suppliers and in the repping environment, like with seed reps and agronomists, consulting environments. I think there's a huge amount of shift where women are actually getting involved in agriculture.
And it's in that supply chain effectively.
Yes, I don't think just in farming. I think definitely through the whole supply chain. I think slow uptake, but I do, compared to the rest of the world, obviously very slow uptake.
Yeah, I just wanted, that was my actually next question is which countries do you have a lot of women that are, in a certain, is there a country that jumps out?
So like Europe in general, they, a lot of their growers are actually women.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had an intern here about also 4 years ago, and she was totally shocked to compare the two.
I was like, where are the ladies?
Yeah, like why is it such a big deal that you are a female grower?
That's interesting.
And where South Africa, it's very it's like patriotic towards.
Yeah, so I would say rigid.
Yeah.
I said it's just that, or just traditional.
Yes,
it's very traditional in the way of thinking. And
so very different compared to her mother was a farmer. She was studying also to go back to the family farm and work. So yeah.
It's I think one thing that's becoming apparent. I mean, it sounds so stupid saying it because it's so obvious, but it's not. It's going back to the supply chain of agriculture, where I would say South Africans are so almost boerbedonderd, right? It's like, but hang on, you have a supply chain that supports the farmer, and without supply chain, there's no farmer. Without the farmer, there's no supply chain.
Yeah.
So it's interactive or interrelated.
Yeah.
But in that supply chain are so many opportunities, and it's got nothing to do with driving around in the field. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's like, how do we miss that?
Yeah.
Why is that not?
Yeah.
So I guess that's the exciting bit.
For sure. And I think it's just how do you see that opportunity and whether you want to get involved in that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So coming back to the business, so you got involved. What are the, early on, so again, unpack the business. So is it still beetroot, broccoli, carrots? So what happened from there? From that specialization, that was the first step. How did the business grow and what happened from there? Yeah,
so we are now primarily just specialized in carrots production. We focus quite a large amount of our efforts go towards our sustainability efforts. So our crop rotation and our you're gonna have to edit this. Gosh. So like.
So let's stand still with the sorry, I'm interrupting while you're thinking. The sustainability is a buzzword. To me, it's like I feel it's used very loosely. Mm. So define sustainability, especially when it comes to carrots, right? Because yes, we know crop soil rotation, whatever, right? There's different way. What does it mean in your business? Give us examples of sustainability and what.
Yeah. So. Look, we primarily, obviously, carrot growers. So we have specialized in, we grow about 800 hectares of carrots.
What is considered an average size carrot farm? Because 800 might be a monstrosity. So I don't know what big is or what's small. Don't you know?
Just know what we do.
Because I know always with millies, I know what for the 1,000 eggs and 4,000, I know that's a moose, a big boer. This oak's not so. But 800 hectares sounds massive. Yeah,
so we do about 65,000 tons of carrots all year round. We grow it in 3 different locations. So what is sustainable for us? That we can have carrots on the market all year round, but not only this year, that we can have it on the market next year, and we're not destroying our grounds by doing that. So we're obviously conventional farmers, but we want to do it as sustainably, as responsibly as possible.
So that's why you've got the 3 different, so it's rotating.
Yes, we've got 3 locations, we've got 3, we only come back to every land that we plant carrots, we come back in 3 years' time to that land.
Okay.
So in between that, we've got cover crop rotation programs that we're putting back into the soil, we're letting our soil rest, we're focusing quite a bit to make sure that the soil health is rejuvenated.
Yes.
Yeah. So that in 10 to 15 years' time, we're still getting the produce off responsibly. And just by introducing that, and that started about 9 years ago, when I started putting these type of methods in our farming practices, we went from 45,000 tons a year to 65,000 tons
just
on the same hectarage.
Incredible.
So
it goes to show this is not just window dressing.
No.
This is good for, but it's good for the world, the soil, and it's good for the bank account.
Yeah. So that's what sustainability.
That's almost like 50%. What was
that?
Yeah,
it was 40% growth within on the same hectarage. That's what it means. We don't want to talk about sustainability as a buzzword. We want to say, what is sustainable to grow the business?
Yeah.
Is it sustainable growth for business? Is it sustainable that we can grow on this business, in these soils, in the future? And can we sustainably hand this over to our children one day?
Yes.
So, yeah.
That legacy.
Yeah,
what is so again, no one, talking to a person that doesn't know anything about carrot farming, how long is it when you plant it, how long does it take to grow, how quickly can you replant? So what's that cycle of a carrot?
So a carrot takes about 6 months, between 5 to 6 months to grow. So it's quite an intensive crop.
What does it like? Heat, rain? No, not too much rain. What is its characteristics as far as sun, cold, hot, cold, wet?
Yeah, look, so it's obviously has its optimal growing time and periods and conditions like any crop. And I think that's why we also have the 3 locations, so that we can optimize on the growing conditions. We have a winter farm, we have a summer farm, and we have a farm that is handling the crossover, so that we can optimize.
So these are different provinces, effectively.
These are provinces.
Got
one
it.
up in the north, one in the Free State, and one here in Gauteng.
Yes.
So
where in the Free State?
Christiana.
Christiana, my goodness. Okay. Next to the Vaal River that runs through. Yes. Okay.
So what is it? It always has optimal growing conditions. And we try and peg those in the locations, time of the year, so that we can grow the produce all year round.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you, as far as different regions, how do you make sure you can produce X amount if you're resting the land? How do you make sure that you?
So we have about 300 hectares of irrigation.
Okay, so you can switch on demand.
Well,
sort of.
With a lot of planning.
yes. Let's flip a switch.
So we have 3,000 hectares, and we're only growing 800 hectares of that with carrots every year.
Got it.
So within the other time of the year, all those other lands are in their rotation periods, getting rested and well looked after. Yeah.
And as far as is it also a cultivar? How do you, as far
as
a variety? So where does that come from? Who's developing the R&D that goes into that? Again, is there a country that stands out or a company?
So the bulk of our varieties come from Europe, specifically France.
Okay.
And they have obviously breeding programs around the world, and they obviously try and select for to improve
Yes.
your
So the
disease
conditions,
resistance,
yeah, so-
or yes,
So it's region specific.
yes. So they work very hard at selecting and breeding good material that has
Yes.
resistance, and
Yeah.
then so that does make a huge difference on optimizing your production
Yeah.
supply chain.
Yes. Carrots, obviously the business, again, how did the business from there, how did that develop and diversify? So obviously now you're the carrot king, so to speak.
Yeah.
What happened next?
I feel like the rest is history. 2015, we created another subsidiary of the business called Rugani Juice, which was an opportunity to optimize a bit of our produce. So about 25% of our carrot goes to the second grade market. So we wanted to build initiatives in the business to say, how do we add value to the 25% of the produce that is getting sold on the market below cost? And that's where Rugani Juice was brought into. We developed the juicing plant, and now we are also not only carrot growers, but we also are the leading industry and market leaders of vegetable juices in South Africa.
Wow.
So yes, that is something that has also taken off from around 2015. And from there, business has also increased efficiencies.
What was that a big learning curve? Going from farming to production. Right?
Yes.
So was that a big jump?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it's a total different business model. Agriculture is primarily driven by its supply side of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So you can only sell what you have.
Yes.
And an FMCG industry like the juice is, it's very sales driven.
Yes.
It's demand driven. So it was
impulse driven.
It was a very, very big learning curve.
Yeah.
And we've had to, I think that's primarily why the two businesses are actually run independently.
Because there's different mindsets, different hats that you have to.
Yeah, it's completely different ways of how business is run.
Yes,
and
yes.
that was a huge learning curve. We were farmers. We weren't in processing and value add.
Yes.
And sale. It's very, very heavy on sales.
Negotiating with aggressive supermarket buyers.
Yeah, exactly. Where we supply 70% of our produce right now on the fresh produce market, which is it's a supply and demand type
Yes.
of industry. So.
And how did you find out? Obviously, the one thing you took effectively no business, a loss, and turned it into a profitable business. So what's the current state of affairs with the carrot, the juice business? I mean, the growth there, how's it contributed to the bottom line? What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? Is there almost an itch to expand into other type of vegetable juices, or are you still?
I think we still
laser focused.
We still primarily farmers.
That's
our core business.
Got it.
And I think there's so much opportunity with the juice. I think there is obviously challenges, and South African market is uptake of vegetable juice is probably not as quick as we would want it to be, but it's got huge potential, huge opportunity, and there's so much more capacity built in that business. So it can definitely grow.
Yes.
But it needs also focus and
What is and again, as far as vegetable juice, is it a shift in the society as a whole is more health conscious? Is that part of it, that people are more health conscious, or what drives that buying decision of carrot juice or vegetable juice?
I think it's what drives buying the decision is what the product can offer you. So it's a functional beverage.
Yes.
It's not just a carrot juice.
Yes.
It's
All these added benefits.
Yes, and we are definitely marketing it as it's a functional juice. It serves you, it adds value to you, it's for your health, it's for so much more than just quenching your thirst, you know. So yeah.
Got it. So we've touched on technology. What and again I'm just conscious of the Australian is Oz still a benchmark? Is that still where you get additional tips and tricks, and what does technology look like as far as the farming and concerned? What and even the production of the juices are what's happening at the moment, and what are the opportunities moving forward?
So I think technology is always in the forefront of our minds, because we constantly looking at improvement and innovation and optimization. I think the approach with technology, though, is it must serve a need. We don't just go out to go find technology. It must obviously serve a need of what do we want to solve, what's the problem, and what do we want to solve. And I don't think it's primarily linked to one country or where we look. I think we just try and get as much exposure as possible to see what can we bring into the business and optimize with technology. I think it's just very important for us that we always look at our internal processes, our internal ways of working, and see how do we optimize and what is the best way and technology out there to go and use to do this. We're not, I want to say, technology hungry, that we want
just change for the sake
of changing. It must be pragmatic, it must be need based, and
What does that look like at the moment? So define technology. What are you using at the moment that's made a huge impact? I mean, the varieties obviously a big thing, I think, across any farm at the moment, or breeds for that matter. What do you guys use that as a game changer?
I think where we're at in the business and the evolution of our business, because we're going now from family business to a big family business, and we are evolving now to become a professional family business. So a lot of our focus in the next...
Sorry to interrupt you. Are those actual categories?
We're trying to marry that. We don't want to stay as this family business.
So it's like it's always, this is the next step. This is the next step.
We want to become more professional in our approach, in our management styles, in our governance, in the way we do business. We are...
I mean, is this an example?
This is an example of that. So a lot of our focus in our business is how do we make this change and what is needed to make that change. And a little bit of it is technology, like new systems and business management systems that are going to optimize our processes.
Got it.
It's not necessarily just technology about the implement that's disking the land. It's also using systems and processes that make our business more optimized, like reporting.
So what is out there? What typically, what have you identified? I immediately thought of, because one of the tractor manufacturers just moved over to SAP, right? So, and I know that is a huge pain. I mean, and SAP is one of those so powerful but so painful, the learning curve. So what have you identified? Or is there something specifically for farming, or is it just you just look at it, what's good in business and we want that?
Yeah, I think it's an approach, if I can just categorize it as that, because we use something like the tractor. It's got an engine, it's got wheels, but what else does the supplier offer you that can optimize your business processes? And our service provider at the moment can offer technology that shows you your consumptions, where your tractor is, how often is it working. That gives you so much more intelligence than just was the land disked or was the land plowed. it gives you so much more than that. It gives you, is your business optimized?
Yes.
And those are the type of things that we're looking at.
It's measuring every aspect of the
every
business.
aspect of the business so that we can manage it. We are in a very big shift in the business where we're putting a lot of processes and systems in place. We've just developed an agri-business system with a supplier that manages our full business supply chain,
So
from scheduling to planting to procurement.
Wow, so it's
to
customized.
And that's the phase that we are in the business. We are definitely moving to how do we manage this business more professionally.
Yes, yes. What are, I mean, are you is it a labor intensive business?
We are a lot more mechanized, especially in the production side of the business.
Yes.
We do have quite a bit of labor still in our packing facilities, but on the production side, it's majority mechanized. We harvest with mechanical machines, so yeah, heavy reliance on great technology.
And it's important to know what the technology is up to.
Yes.
what it's doing is not doing.
Yeah.
What's the biggest in terms of adopting these new processes? Is it human habit? Is that the big challenge, to shift people's way of what they used to and how they did their day-to-day activities?
I think it's all about how you actually manage it and lead it. So it's such a difficult question, because I don't feel like there's not.
You don't have resistance as far as
no.
they know this is for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah.
So touching on that, how do you keep this family business as a family? So obviously it's a family business and it's a family.
2 families.
Yes, it's 2 families. What are if you have to give someone a bit of tips and tricks, how do you keep the team motivated? I mean, the fact that you can make these changes in processes and systems with not too much hassle in itself is a testimony that you're doing something right.
Yeah, look, it always comes with it comes with its challenges. Change management and change in how we run business and what we're doing is always a challenge. I think it's just important that you stay true to your objectives and your vision and where we want to go. And I think to open the lines of communication, at the end of the day, transparency and where we're going and how do we actually going to get there. People want to know how they fit in and where they're going. And I think as long as it's influenced and they're brought into the process instead of outside of the process, then
and everyone's pointing in the right direction.
Yeah. I think that's primarily how we try and navigate the challenges that come with change management or the way business is working. Yeah.
How do you learn? What's your go-to as far as making sure that you're on top of your game as the leader? Are these trick questions?
No, I don't think trick questions. I'm like, I just don't know how to answer that on the spot.
How do you learn? What do you enjoy? Specific publications, websites, YouTube videos, books? What podcasts? What is your? How do you make sure? How do you know that you're on top of your game as the leader?
Yeah, I think to always keep exposed, like have exposure. I think I like to invite people in and have mentors and with people that have experienced different things to what I've experienced.
Yes.
So,
Let's touch on that, because I think and when you and I spoke earlier, it was clear that you have a culture and a mindset of come and see what we're doing, because you can get this feedback and input. But your experiences is not a lot of people want to returned or that keen other farmers to share knowledge and so on. So tell us a bit more about that, because I mean we were talking about that. That is, well, I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I mean you lose if you don't want to share. But I mean you guys don't. You're generous with the information, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've got anything to hide. I think we've grown as a business because someone opened up their business.
Yes, so that's as like you've seen the benefits of that, and you want to return the.
Yeah, and we've had wonderful opportunities because we had mentors in the past, and people open up their non-threatening.
Yes.
Just come and look.
Yes.
And I think that's how we've always learned, is go and find out. If we're dealing with a challenge, go and find out. Who else can do this better? So you asked, how do we learn? I think we learn out of our challenges primarily, but get out of the challenge and go find out how it's done somewhere else.
Yes.
To change
don't
the
be
mindset.
Don't be. You're not too proud to ask. I don't know. Can you point me in the right direction?
So I don't often. So I think. Yeah, we don't often maybe do that in South Africa. But if we don't know something, we will get on a plane and go look, or find another family business that's maybe generations ahead of us that we can ask the questions. What's happened in your business? How was this handled? Or how did you handle?
So what is as far as a supporting body? Now I'm thinking again, Millie's. You've got Grain SA, right? For example, or the milk, they've got all these organizations. What do you guys have? Is there a vegetable? Is there no vegetable club?
No, and if there is one, I'm not part of it. So.
But is that in itself then a missed opportunity as far as just, because normally that's the almost the knowledge hubs where information is shared, gathered, the support back. So you literally doing your own thing, and Is that the veg industry in South Africa?
Look, I think there's potatoes have a potato board.
Yes.
And
actually, we were talking about the potato board last week with it.
Yeah. So, and I think onions also have onion growers.
But you don't have a carrot.
But
carrot club.
No, there's no carrot growing association. So
why is that? Is it just?
Yeah, I wonder.
Is it
if it's
smaller? Is it the size of the?
I wonder if it's because of that, and also I think because we are also the primary producers in South Africa. So, you are 50% of the market.
I understand. You're there. You're in the front. So who's now going to tell you? You literally you are the carrot association. So
maybe
in a way, right? So
I don't know. Maybe that is.
And is it the same in other countries? I mean, do you have certain countries that have massive carrot, as a percentage of, I guess potatoes is massive all around.
I'm not actually sure. I know that the way that industry works, like a lot of the times in Europe, is that they would have a lot of growers sending to one packing facility and one marketing facility, but there will be 50 growers that bring.
It always collaborates in the one central way.
But in our business, we are in control of our whole supply chain. We grow it, we pack it, we logistically move it to market, we market it. So I think because that is not a part of our business model, that our question if that's the fundamental difference is we are in control of the full supply chain in our business.
It's fascinating and it's quite unique, right? To be in that position. Just coming back to this and a last question. So again, 3 tips. Again, as far as a leader, as a mom, as a wife, business or personal. What are 3 things people should not do or do?
Not do. And I think it's a tip to self too then. Don't take yourself so seriously. I think life has its own challenges that, sometimes it's just, don't be so serious. Another tip is, family's complicated, so don't take your problems home. I work with my husband, so...
How do you draw that line, by the way?
Yeah, it's challenging, but I think it's easy enough because we don't actually work in exactly the same lines of the business, so it's very different with regards to that.
Are you not guilty of wanting to know what's going on his side?
I know already.
You're waiting to hear if he's going to tell you.
Yeah.
And what is this process? I mean, if you want to touch on this, maybe I think as a final point, this was interesting when we walked in. Tell us about this and I guess the aim to achieve that. So just give us a bit more meat around that.
So this is a model that is well known. It wasn't developed internally. There's a book written called Radical Candor, and it's a philosophy that's used to manage and birth or foster very good working culture. And it's primarily you want to be sitting in that behavior of radical candor, where you have the opportunity to directly challenge certain things, but we care personally. We care personally about the business, we care personally about people, and that problems get solved, but in a way that creates a culture that is workable. So this is just something that governs our way of working, and this is how we want to engage. We want things to be addressed and challenged, but we don't want to break the business, break the people while doing that. So yes, it's a really great tool and model to use when, especially in a family business. To just govern, this is how we engage, and we're proud to engage like this.
And I think it's the challenge with family businesses is familiarity. So with that comes you don't have boundaries sometimes, right? So it's easy to shout or whatever, but you won't do that in a foreign or Australia. You won't never do that. So I take that on board, that you have to have those clear lines, otherwise it can easily become a bit of a boxing ring.
So it's really been a great tool to call out when things are not aligning in the way that we want to engage. So excellent.
I really like this.
Anita,
thank you. I really enjoyed our chat, and well done. It's an impressive business. It is, and it's so unique. I must say, I know a few things more now about carrots. I didn't realize that it was. It's this world onto its own. But thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope you achieve that sooner rather than later. Good stuff.
Baie dankie dat jy geluister het. As jy gehou het van die episode, onthou asseblief om te deel met jou vriende en familie, en baie belangrik, teken sommer in dat jy op hoogte kan bly van al die nuwe episodes, en besoek gerus ons Facebookblad @boerpot.